Okay, music fans, welcome. Harmless Me here again, talking about real music, doing it in real time, and doing it for real people just like you right there, and just like me right here. I've tried to be more diplomatic when talking about the band Styx, but they really make it hard for me to do because even when I'm minding my own business and watching a few videos and then I stumble on this video from Access TV. Sammy Hagar does this rock and roll roadshow thing. I thought he had stopped doing it, but apparently he's still doing it. And he's talking to Styx about their residency with Don Felder at the Venetian Theater or one of those places, Mandalay Bay, wherever these things happen. And they have a nice little spot with Felder, which I think is cool. They talk about how it would be cool for the Eagles to get back together again with Felder. And Don remarks that it's been like 15 years since I put my book out. So, yeah, you would think there'd be water under the bridge by now. And I'm thinking, no way is Don Henley ever going to forgive Don Felder. And that's another video. The Styx portion of the interview really frustrated me. Because, again, we hear that Dennis DeYoung just likes Showtunes, right? And we've been hearing this. I thought they were going to drop this narrative and say, look, Dennis is basically retiring from music. I don't know if he's going to tour anymore, but I think he's done recording. I think he sent some messages out there through those Volume 1 and Volume 2 collections. And by the way, that Volume 2, 26 East Volume 2, one of the best melodic rock records of this past year. And do I like it better than the Crash of the Crown, whatever it's called? Yeah, I do. I mean, do I like that music? I do, but that music to me, even though it's well crafted, it's fairly melodic. And again, it's much like the last Mission to Mars thing. It's good. But for some reason, I'm just not all that into it. And I don't know. It's probably my own bias. I'm going to be honest with you. I think if another band had done it, I would have been like, hey, this is really good stuff. And it is. It's good stuff. I have a bias. I'm at least telling you I have a bias against it. All right. So you can go and order it, purchase it, whatever, and enjoy it. I'm not going to do that. And this is what happens when you poison the well by saying things like, oh, Dennis DeYoung is into Showtunes. Hagar asks JY, what happened after 1983? Now, hey, Sammy, I guess you're trying to elicit a response, or maybe the band gave you a question to ask, again, to continue to solidify their bona fide rock and roll credentials. That's why they have Don Felder along for the ride to beef it up even more, even though the Eagles and Styx really don't have they almost have nothing in common, really. I mean, very little. Little, maybe Babe and I Can't Tell You Why. Ooh, that's a Dennis song, so I shouldn't bring that in. And you got Tim Schmidt, and he's kind of an R&B guy, and I think Dennis probably enjoys some R&B. They're both ballads. I don't know. Styx doesn't like ballads, even though the ballads seem to do well. Lady, the progressive power ballad, kind of broke the band. Remember Lady? Song you don't hear on the radio anymore. But Styx, I'm sure, will be performing it, right? Because, hey, the guy who loves Liza Minnelli, he launched this band. He got this band out of the ruts, and probably that band would have been dropped eventually by the record label. I mean, for how long can you tip? And that's what actually happened, because it was Wood and Nickel, and then it went over to what, A&M. But I mean, if they didn't have a hit eventually, I'm sure they wouldn't have continued having a record deal with anybody. And so 2 things were said that were just not appropriate. And it's just, the best, and I've said this in other videos, guys, don't talk about Dennis. Just talk about, hey, people change. We grew out of this, and we didn't at the time appreciate it. But now, if you want to be really diplomatic, we actually brought that song back into our set, Roboto. We brought it back in, And yes, of course, we rocked it up because you don't want to hear all of those keyboards and all of those 1980s sound effects that Dennis DeYoung and his wisdom of being more or less the producer. I'm sure the band had a producer, but my theory is that Dennis knew what was on the radio at the time and wanted that music to fit, and it did. Now, Styx basically are saying to everybody, no, the other guys in Styx, we want to be Iron Maiden right now. And Dennis is preventing us from being Iron Maiden. How so? I mean, you've had a bunch of ballads become big songs, and songs with big pompous arrangements like The Grand Illusion, which at times rocks, at other times is more ballad or slower oriented. So again, here's the guy who buttered all the bread, and you continue to just throw him under the bus. The other thing that they blatantly just lied about was Hagar is asking them about the band and when it kind of got its act together again. They said it took 13 years, which I'm wondering about that little album they did called Edge of the Century, where they had a top 10 hit called Show Me the Way, which became kind of a first Gulf War anthem for a lot of people. And the song meant a lot at the time. And that was a huge achievement because that band had been technically dormant for over 6 years. And then they hit the top 10 again. And some would say, well, it was a fluke because the DJ, he mixed in the news headline audio clips with the song itself and kind of got the song rolling, even though it had nothing to do with the Gulf War. But when you listen to the lyrics, it actually applies even more than it did then. It applies to the stuff we're living through now, even more so. And you can listen to other songs like The Best of Times and The Grand Illusion, and even Babe, which is just about your girlfriend, right? Your wife. I mean, it's an awesome song, but yet you can't have rockers and ballads coexisting together. But you can have a guy who's very theatrical from Canada who takes over on lead vocals and sounds nothing like the guy that you're replacing. All right, that's fine. He can be all theatrical because he understands his role and he understands that he's going to rock out more so than the guy who was in love with Liza Minnelli. So they got the timeline wrong on when the band got back together again. They were basically saying that it was 96, the Return to Paradise, and that's not true. That's when Tommy got back. JY was there for Edge of the Century. So for him to say, no, we weren't really doing anything, there's video of him on with Regis and Kathy Lee doing the song Show Me the Way. And they did a really good version of it, in fact, and it almost seemed like, JY liked being there. So it's bizarre that these guys continue to look. Nobody really cares that much, right? This is the bottom line to everything I talk about. Who really cares? Does anybody care that Styx is lying? Nah, nobody cares because they're going to the Venetian or wherever to see, 6 shows in a row with Don Felder and Styx. I get it. It's cool. I get it. But why even go down this road if you don't have to go down this road? Just say that we had creative differences with Dennis. He's a brilliant singer, a brilliant songwriter, even to this day. His last 2 albums were phenomenal, right? He didn't have all this input from outside writers. Yeah, he had, correction. He had Jim Peterick, right? He had Jim Peterick. So I can't say he didn't have influence from outside writers. But I'm sure Dennis had a vision for what he wanted to do. And from what I've been told, Jim was cautioning him on some of the lyrics on a couple of songs where he went after the fake news media, which one of my favorite tracks that Dennis has ever done. You can go listen to that, I believe, on Volume 1 of the 26 East, Volume 1, Volume 2. Maybe Frontiers should do a box set. Maybe there are a couple of tracks that didn't make the albums, but would make for a nice Christmas gift, right? Even though time is kind of running out, maybe next year. So the bottom line here is they intentionally kind of omitted when Styx got back together again without Tommy. and they were waiting for Tommy. And Tommy went off with the damn Yankees. So, you know, that was Tommy's thing, that he didn't want to get back together at that moment. When they did get back together again, and they omit this, Dennis was there. And then, of course, they don't talk about, there's not enough time. It's a short clip, so they don't go into detail. What happened with Dennis? Why did he leave the band? Why did you guys force Dennis DeYoung out of Styx? Well, he didn't like to tour. That's weird. He's been touring now for like 22 years since you guys kicked him out. He's been touring. So it's kind of weird. And yeah, he seems to like to record music too. And I think all of his music has been fairly original. He hasn't come out with a covers album. He's really just put his nose to the grindstone when he felt appropriate. It was appropriate. And, you know, or his buddy Jim Peterick said, hey, man, the world, you know, really needs you and needs your music. And Dennis DeYoung's reply was, well, have the world text me, you know. But he still came out with 2 albums, and they were very, very good. You could tell that he put a lot of effort into those records, as did Styx on their crash of the Crown Victoria, or whatever it's called, not to be confused with the Dodge Omni variant, right? And then, you know, their mission to Mars, which I'm sure Elon Musk will eventually use when they finally do take that, you know, mothership up to Mars, which the way the world's going right now, it's probably going to be pretty soon. You know what I'm thinking? That's what I'm thinking. So in any event, this video is a little bit whacked. I'm sorry. I'm amazed that they continue to just throw shade at this guy who said basically earlier this year that he's retiring, right? He's done. I don't know if he's going to do any more gigs, but he's definitely done recording music. He will chime in here or there, either on Facebook, or he'll show up in an interview. And by the way, yes, I have tried to get an interview with DDY and didn't hear anything. My guess is, folks, I'm obviously a toxic entity now for a lot of people who want to be so diplomatic that, oh, you went on with that crazy guy. You went on with a guy who doesn't believe in the protocols. Wow, how irresponsible. So you're endorsing that behavior? So this is the world we live in today, where if you have a different opinion on something and you're very vocal about it, then you're a troublemaker and you're somebody that people need to distance themselves from. So yeah, that's probably what's going on. I don't know. I mean, he could always reach out to me directly. He could send me an email. He could do whatever he wanted to do just to chat, say hello. Other people do it, by the way. Just for the record, there are other people who reach out to me who are kind of big league, you know, and we have great conversations. I keep things confidential because that's what I do. And if they want to go on and talk about stuff, they come on and talk about stuff. We had Tommy DiCarlo on the show a couple days ago, or yesterday, whenever. I can't even remember when he was on, but he was really good. You should watch the interview. He's got a great audiobook out there. And, you know, we'll have the occasional guest here or there, but I guess I'm not going to snag too many big fish because I'm a troublemaker, and troublemakers, you've got managers and agents that are like, nah, don't go on with that guy because he's not down with, you know, the CDC. You know, he doesn't like them, and that's a problem for us because we need to embrace all of our fans, not just the stupid fans. We need to bring all the fans together. So in any event, sorry for that last remark. Uncalled for, Dave. That's a foul. That will cost you 5 shekels. And, you know, as far as this whole Styx situation, I will try not to, you know, stumble on videos that I'm not supposed to watch.